video, I'm going to be talking about how to improve your art. And a couple of the things I'm going to be talking about are art style, anatomy, what not to do, how to do proper studies, and how to use references, and lastly, my workflow. So let's get into it. Disclaimer, I am an amateur. I am not by no means a professional artist, so these are just some tips that help me improve my art, and yeah. Okay, so let's start with art style. When I was first finding my art style, I was really struggling on what steps I should take, or was it just a gradual process? And in the end, this is what I came up with. One of the first things I did was I started collecting artworks that I thought looked really nice and started looking at what made them look nice. Like, was it the way they did their blush, their eyelashes, the background, the anatomy? And then I started implementing some of these features into my own artwork. And finally, I got something that was my own original style. There's no right or wrong way to find your art style. This is just the way that worked for me. Honestly, I saw a lot of improvement after I found my art style. So maybe that's just the thing that's stopping you from improving your art. Okay, so moving on to anatomy, my least favorite part. So I've always struggled with anatomy, and honestly, I feel like anatomy was one of the things that was really stopping me from making good art. I used to just draw from face up because my anatomy was always really bad. But I learned a few tricks that helped me make my anatomy better. So the first thing is use references. References will help you. References are good, and this is what really helped me improve my anatomy. I started tracing over my references. But if you trace over your references, and when I say trace, I don't literally mean trace every single feature. I just mean separate the pose into like shapes and then refine it later. That's what really helped me improve on my anatomy. I didn't need to trace my references anymore. It was used to, drawing the shapes. Just be patient and keep practicing, and eventually you'll get there. Trust me. Okay, next up we have what not to do. Okay, the first thing you should not do is trace other people's artwork. And yeah, we all used to trace when we were kids, and that kind of did help us, but tracing other people's artwork, eventually it won't help you anymore. You have to eventually start to draw by yourself. There is an exception. When you're doing studies and stuff of that sort, you can trace other people's artwork to study their artwork. But remember, you cannot post this. You cannot claim this without crediting the artist. Okay, the second thing is don't overcomplicate your artwork by using too many brushes or too many layers. I even now stick to only 2 or 3 brushes when I color or do my line art, and using too many brushes might seem like a good option when you start out, but it actually overcomplicates your artwork, and yeah, it's just not good. Also, using too many layers can also be a problem because you're going to get confused, and drawing on the wrong layer is one of the worst things you can do to yourself. So yeah, do not do that. Okay, let's move on to how to do studies. Studies can be really helpful when you're trying to learn a specific part of something, like anatomy, or how to draw a specific thing, like how to draw birds, how to draw people. And basically how I do my studies is pick a subject and kind of like a reference image and kind of like try to draw it, and try to draw it in different angles. And yeah, studies can really help you improve certain aspects that you think you're not good at drawing. Like for me, backgrounds have always been a huge problem. So I often do studies on like clouds, beaches, and just certain types of backgrounds. And studies have really helped my art a lot, so I highly recommend doing them. Okay, so now it's time to talk about references. And we already talked about references in the beginning of the video, so I feel like I don't have much to say here. except where to find good references. And obviously, most of you already know Pinterest is a great place you can find really good references. And you can also take reference photos yourself. And this is a really great way to have like reference photos that you can do whatever you want with because it's your photo. And yeah, I think that's it for references. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to be talking about my workflow. I try to keep my workflow as simple as possible by using around 4 layers for my entire drawing process. The first layer being just the pose, and then I make a sketch layer on top of that, and sometimes I need to make another sketch layer to really refine my sketch, which is completely okay. And then I do a line art layer, and then I color everything. So usually after I'm done rendering my piece, I merge everything into one layer, and then I add special effects. Like Procreate has this thing you can do called adjustments, and you can add like chromatic aberration, halftone, glitch, stuff like that. And sometimes I even have an extra layer for doing my lighting, like a multiply layer. So yeah, that's basically how I make my drawings. So to recap, these are some of the things that we talked about in the video. We talked about art style, anatomy, what not to do, how to conduct studies, how to use references, and in the end, my workflow. So yeah, thank you for watching, and if this video helped you in any way, please consider subscribing and liking the video if you want. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.